As always, Rebecca Haarlow, part of our coverage. She now joins us from Las Vegas. She hasn't melted yet, which is good news. Rebecca, your takeaway from last night.
Yes, well, the guys were a lot more aggressive, as you heard Jud Buechler say. He was really happy with that. Specifically, he liked the ball movement. He said for the first time this summer league, the guys were sharing the ball, playing the right way, so the chemistry is developing there. And you heard him talk about R.J. Barrett a little bit, how they want to clean things up around the rim. So I was talking to the coaches, asking more specifically what they want to see there. And he said that what he's seeing with R.J. is that he's pump faking a little bit, trying to draw that contact and get to the rim. Well, they want him going straight up, just being more aggressive, and they think that that'll help him land some of those shots. But they're really encouraged by what they saw from him, and also Kevin Knox too, with his aggressiveness last night.
Rebecca, I know we've talked a lot about RJ, Kevin. Is there anyone else that you've seen while you're out there that's impressed you, that's maybe kind of gone under the radar?
Well, Iggy Brazdeikis has definitely not gone under the radar, but the Knicks very happy with his physicality, and on some nights he's shown a little bit more than other nights, but overall the takeaway is that they really like how physical he is. And I was talking to Kevin Knox about that last night. One interesting thing that he said, with the depth that they've added to this team, he thinks that training camp this year is going to be really intense, and that the coaches have talked about how they're going to have to earn minutes, earn time. So none of those starting jobs are going to be, out there right now. It's all going to be determined based on what they get done at training camp. So I think we can expect a lot of competition from this squad moving forward.
Rebecca, we all know there's no feeling like winning. You're behind the scenes every single day in the locker room through a lot of losses, some wins, hopefully some more. Give us some insight on what it's like just being behind the scenes when the guys get wins.
Yeah, the guys are just really happy about what they were able to put together, get that win. And winning is contagious, as you know. And so one thing that I think that's interesting and also definitely worth noting coming out of last night, at this point at Summer League, a lot of the marquee players on other teams are opting not to finish that fifth game or play in the playoffs if that's where their team is going. And every single one of these rookies and all the marquee players for the Knicks, Kevin Knox, etc., they're all playing. So they want to continue to finish out. They want to continue to build that chemistry, and they want to get one more win. So seeing that is great to see that effort from the team.
Rebecca, how much do you think the Summer League has maybe increased the stock, or it lowers the stock of players? How important do you see this summer, especially for the Knicks, obviously, with all the newcomers?
Yeah, well, I don't think teams put a ton of stock in Summer League in terms of how that's going to transition to the regular season, but I think they see it as a building block. And with the Knicks, they've got so many young players, so really this has just been an opportunity for them to continue to build their confidence and that chemistry. And again, we saw that with the ball movement last night. Kadeem Allen had a much more solid game. The team was looking for him to make quicker, smarter decisions with the ball, and he definitely did that. So I think for those players and the guys that are trying to make this team, Summer League is really important. So I think they're definitely happy that they got a much more competitive squad last night.
As a rookie, you tend to maybe dribble too much, maybe do too much,
sure,
right? Think too much. We're going to show a couple of plays that's showing you how Kevin Knox is evolving. The first one, he makes a quick decision to make a play, make a move, and get to the hoop.
Yeah, he's one of those wings where you don't want him using useless dribbles. You want him being decisive with his moves. So here, jab step, blows by his defender. Now freeze it there. Now defenders are in a good position here and here. Mitchell Robinson does a good job of sealing off the defense, but he can slice to the basket and use his length. This is where he's got to use his elasticity. He's got long arms, long legs. He's a little thinnish, so he can fit inside tight spaces. Go ahead and run it. He slips right by the defender, doesn't charge. The defender was trying to use the rule of verticality there, but Kevin does a good job of avoiding him, maybe not jumping as high as he needed to finish this. He uses his length here. Finishing around an NBA rim is about finishing at different angles. You don't always want to be finishing straightforward. Sometimes you want to finish here, sometimes you want to finish here, sometimes you have to use your left hand and finish with your left, and that's one thing he's getting pretty good at and did a good job of last night.
And that shows you what he's been working on. It's some things that are very subtle. It's body control. Body control is
Decisive
very
movements,
important.
decisive, confident.
Yes, but as you get to the basket, being able to control and finish, while also going up with power. Again, something I think he struggled with last year. We're going to show you now on the fast break where, again, decisive, but also the body control to get the finish and the N1.
Yeah, and you want to, when you go to the basket, I always used to search for contact. You want that contact. Once you feel that contact, the whistle might blow. And here he goes, freeze it there. Now he's got his defender in a position where the defender can't get in front of him to get the charge, so he's got him on his hip. So that's when you just run straight into the defender. You make body contact with him. He's going to be frozen. He's not going to be able to jump. He's going to be off balance, and that's when you get the opportunity to go the N1 route, and that's what he does here. Now notice, last year he would have made contact. He would have fallen out of bounds.
Yes.
I see this year he's more vertical towards the basket. He's more decisive in going through defenders and drawing the foul and not being pushed off the spot with the contact, and that's exactly what he does there. He powers through his defender, powers through to the basket, and I think that's one thing that's going to continue to come with him as he matures, both mentally and especially physically.
Over the last couple of games, 17 of 23 from the free throw line for him. That's important for the
last
development of a
time we
player.
were in this situation, I embarrassed both of you so badly that I don't want to do it again. So I'm not going to try anything.
All right, so what are we doing here?
I'm just.
Am I powering through you to the basket? The N1?
Look out.
Wow.
That is not a foul.
That made me.
No, you were moving. You were moving.
Back with Shep Messing, Red Bulls analyst, knows all about what's happening overseas as well.
Absolutely. We have a derby here, right? And so we've got a derby. We're trying to get this going. But this derby, you saw this feature, incredible. This has been going. Shifting dynamics here, obviously. Paul Pogba looming somewhere over here. We have some signings. Zidane with the wallet of like a Saudi prince, basically just bringing all these guys in. Atleti has added João Felix. We know that he's there. They're not done. Griezmann probably going. It's really tough to tell who has the edge just because there's so many moving parts. How do you see it?
Real Madrid.
Yeah,
Real
definitely.
Madrid. Definitely. I'm a Real Madrid guy.
Got it.
I followed them. I was friendly with Roberto Carlos when he played there. Beckham was there at the same time. And I'm a Zidane guy. So Atletico, look, full credit to them. They have a style of play. They're dynamic. They'll sit back. They'll counterattack. They're incisive. But I'm all Real Madrid. So for me, look, it's an opportunity in this marketplace to see world-class teams. And people talk about friendly games. There's no such thing. You know how it is.
Yeah.
No such thing. That whistle blows. They're going to have spikes up. They're going to be sliding tackles. Should be a great game.
All right, now locally, of course, we've got the Red Bull Sunday against NYCFC. Big rivalry there. Bradley Wright Phillips scored the Red Bulls' third goal in their last game against Atlanta. Here it is, Shep. 3-3 tie. Bradley Wright Phillips coming off of injury, had a bad groin. Could he go the full tilt on Sunday potentially or not?
Yeah, Bill, I don't think he's ready to go 90 minutes, but that's a welcome sight for Red Bulls fans. They've struggled without him. You can't replace a guy like that. They've had some guys that stepped in and scored goals, but Bradley Wright Phillips, over the last 5 years, no more prolific goal scorer in Major League Soccer. So great that he's back, but they're going to be a tough test, NYCFC. I don't know how they've been so good, but they've been good.
Well, I know obviously we're going to talk about the glory of the national team, not the women's national team, the national team, okay? But I ask you every time you come here, what can I be excited about going forward with the men's national team? That's a man right there in Bradley Wright Phillips, somebody that, we're hoping to put the goal, put the ball in the back of the net for us. Who can we look forward to? We have some tournaments coming up, obviously, in some years to come. Like, what can I feel good about and hopeful about when it comes to men's soccer?
I'm laughing as you're asking me that. You know what you could feel good about?
The women's team?
The women's national team. All this stuff about gender discrimination in terms of pay. Look, that's in any walk of life, that's inconceivable in the year 2019. But when it comes to the soccer team, I wouldn't pay the men's team anything. Pay them zero. I'd make them pay their own per diem. They're terrible. I mean, the pool of talent is weak. The coach, who I like, Greg Berhalter, he's struggling because there's no national team in the world that tries to implement a different tactical system. It's an all-star team. Whether it's Spain, Italy, Germany, France, you're getting the best 18 players, and you play a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1. Greg Berhalter is trying to adjust the tactical system, play with possession out of the back. Greg, forget about it. He's bringing in less quality players to try and fit into his system.
Yeah.
I'd pay him 0 until they get it right.
Shep, is that why the men's national team is having such a hard time scoring? Because of the system?
Bill, there are a lot of problems. Look, it's all about the pool of talent. I'm picking on Greg for the system. There are only a few quality players, not enough. We talk about the powerhouses around the world. They're 50, 60, 70, 80 players deep. We have a couple of players that can make plays. Pulisic, a Tyler Adams, a Josie Altidore when he's on. We have young goalkeepers. We just don't have enough talent. So to compound that by trying to play a different system, forget about it.
It's a headache.
Get excited about the women.
Yeah, well, at least that they're, they've got their parade and all of that. I mean, I was watching the report where one of the players was worried about childcare, was thinking like, if I actually pay for somebody to take care of my child during this tournament where I will win the world championship, I will blow my whole paycheck. I mean, it's incredible.
Look, these things don't happen organically. They happen with investment. We're looking at that parade in New York City yesterday, celebrating the team. Look, there are very few things, you guys know this, that can capture the imagination of the public. And winning is one of those things. And look, they've been a favorite for a long time, the women's team. It's hard to be the favorite.
Now, did you not have France beating the U.S.?
That's right.
Did you or did you not? I'm trying to take the cobwebs
I'm going to
out.
change the subject. Because Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan, tremendous publicity they're getting, rightfully so. My favorite player, the MVP of this tournament for me, Crystal Dunn. Long Island girl, Rockville Center, went to Southside High School, University of North Carolina. Magical player. But she played completely out of position. She took it for the team. She's an attacking player. She's a wide winger, getting forward, scoring goals. She didn't make it the last cut in 2015. She made it this time, and they needed a left back. They didn't have a left back. Crystal Dunn played left back. Most of the major attacking talent in the World Cup, whether it's France, England, was on the right side. Crystal Dunn, she's my MVP.
Alan and Fernando here. And Fernando, we were talking about viral moments, weren't we, yesterday?
Oh, we were.
And I loved that phrase so much. I used it over and over again yesterday, talking about how to make the All-Star game better.
And you gave me credit.
And I did give you credit.
You're a good man.
I did give you credit.
You're a good man.
You weren't listening to my show, however.
I was not.
You're going to owe me on that one. But still, here's a viral moment in an All-Star game, but it wasn't in the Major League All-Star game. It was in the Atlantic League, where the robot umpire thing finally debuted. In the Atlantic League, where the umpires had phones in their pockets, iPhones, and the track man was letting them know when it was a ball or a strike. How? Well, they had AirPods in their ears. Take a look at this right here.
Yeah, seamless.
And a phone in the pocket, and the track, it basically told them ball or a strike, and that was essentially how the game was called. And you know what? It worked.
It worked fine. It worked fine. It totally would work fine. I mean, you need an umpire there so that people know what's going on.
Yeah.
But really, what I would actually prefer is if that umpire was just holding a camera. Because actually, I think that we need the content for baseball to be a little bit better.
All right.
I feel that
Why is he holding a camera, though?
He's holding a camera because I feel that when you're watching a baseball game, you don't quite understand why a player is rolling over a ball or why it's hard to hit.
Right.
I think that when you're watching the game, especially if you're not especially savvy, you're just thinking, oh, why does he keep grounding over to the shortstop? I think with better camera angles, you can actually respect how difficult it is to hit.
Well, they could always put a camera on him.
Sure,
right?
But I think that it should be just very, very high quality.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I think.
More replay for the viewers at home to see
more angles
Yeah.
because if we talk about the hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a baseball. Does it feel that way when you watch a baseball game?
Oh no, every time.
No,
How did he miss that? How you missed it right there?
Exactly. No, I'm totally a fan of robot umps, and this is why. Plate discipline is a skill, and if we had robot umpires, you would honor the skill of plate discipline.
Yeah.
What players want and hitters want is consistency.
Right.
Pitchers want that too. So imagine you're in a playoff game, and game 2, as a hitter, the strike zone is one way, and then the next game, you're dealing with a different strike zone based on what? This guy is nearsighted, or he had a weird night
he calls
the night
he
before?
calls a different strike zone. But didn't that used to be part of the romance of baseball, that every game is different because it's based on the pitcher's style, based on the umpires? That was supposed to be what made baseball cool.
Of course, but we romanticize the human element, because it's so funny. People are saying, well, we want the human element. You don't want the human element when your team's going out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
You want fairness.
Yeah.
Okay, so we romanticize that human element. For me, I think that we want that consistency. And anyway, if we were interested in this idea of baseball having that romantic human edge, we never would have went to replay. It's quite arbitrary. So we want the home plate umpire to be able to massively change the face of the game, but then we want to know exactly if that home run was foul, or we want to know if the guy was actually safe at first base. Like, it doesn't really make sense. I think if you go forward with this, you automatically have the most fair game on the history of the planet. I'm going to take you to a game that you know very, very well. The last 2 minutes of a basketball game, how much power does that referee have?
Yeah, he doesn't. He does and doesn't, because now, of course, he'll find out with the L2M report whether or not he screwed up, and that could cost him maybe refereeing in the finals.
Precisely. But we've seen that in history. Touch fouls. I mean, the last 2 minutes of an NBA game.
It used to be that way. See, what you're saying, that's how all sports used to be.
Yes.
Like, whoever it is, the referees, the officials in the NFL used to have so much power over a call. I can call pass interference, and maybe on this one I'm not going to call it. Where now, if you don't, because of review, because of replay, that's right. The human element has become the fans and those watching. That's more the human element. Now, here's why you'll always have an umpire in the game, because it does feel like Major League Baseball is eventually going to adopt this once they get away from the. Can you imagine an iPhone? You got the AirPod, and you're sitting there and you're waiting for a ball and strike, and your mom calls. Not now, Mom.
Yeah, and we need the matte black.
Ignore.
We need the matte black AirPods, please.
Those two. But you also still have to have the ability to call a check swing, whether it's a strike or not, right?
Sure.
Whether or not he went around or not. I don't know if the track man can do that. I still think you have to have somebody there with the ability to visualize whether or not he went or didn't on a check swing.
Yeah.
If a pitch is in the dirt right now, it doesn't pick it up, so it calls it a strike. Pitch in the dirt, you have to also be there to say, no, that's a ball.
Yeah.
So it's not entirely on artificial intelligence, but this is definitely on its way.
Absolutely.
So in all of professional baseball, there is only one all-female broadcast team, and that's a broadcast team for the Single-A Salem Red Sox. They are a Boston Red Sox affiliate. They play in Virginia. Melanie Newman is the play-by-play announcer of this all-female broadcast team. Melanie, thanks so much for joining us. How did all of this come about?
No, thank you guys. I've been in baseball for over 10 years now. This is actually my 5th season being in a booth and having a play-by-play or a broadcasting capacity outside of the sidelines. I finished last season with Double-A Frisco with the Rangers, and then the week that pitchers and catchers reported this year, I found myself without a job. So I was looking around trying to find out if there was anybody who still had some openings, what was going on, and it turned out that Salem's broadcaster that they had just hired left and took a different opportunity and the position reopened. So I immediately reached out to them. Susie and I have actually been friends on social media for a while, and I reached out to her after she had told me good luck when she heard I was a free agent and said, so about that good luck, I hear there might be something in your office that could work out for us, and the rest just fell in pretty seamlessly.
Well, when you're trailblazing, often you have to be twice as good, and the reviews have been rave. I just want to hear your work. I mean, you've got a game tonight. So what are you doing right now? Take us into your job, what you're up to right now to prepare.
Yeah, so we're getting set for a doubleheader. Rain has kind of plagued the Carolina League this season. So what I did was I started last night after the game, writing the game recap, starting to cut video footage to put together a highlight reel for our guys. And then working on game notes. It's about a 10-15 page packet of ins and outs that includes everything from hit streaks, how guys have been against particular teams, and of course breaking down our starting pitcher, but also adding the personal touches, like our starter last night. His biggest reason for being in this game is his daughter Dana, and including that he just got a new glove and it's her name on the outside inscription instead of his own. But making sure that you bring in the flavor of both sides with the notes and the numbers. And then once all that's done and it gets distributed to the rest of the league and the media that needs it, just kind of digging into any tangents that I can find that I really want to explore while we're on air together. I mean, it's a chance to tell people something they haven't heard before. So we're in Wilmington right now, and it's named after Judy Johnson Field. So I Googled it last night, thinking it would be, a female who had contributed a lot back. Well, it's actually a very famous Negro League player. So I've pulled up about 4 or 5 different pages of information on him, and I'm going to dissect that, put together a little bit of what I can talk about on air with that tonight. But just really finding anywhere that we can explore with both players on both sides, and then, the city that we're in.
Melanie, women have made tremendous strides in sports broadcasting here in the last couple of years, especially in terms of calling games, whether it's play-by-play or serving as a color analyst. How has the challenge been for you, and what do you ultimately hope for in doing this?
At the end of the day, I just want to be involved. At one point, I thought that I would be a studio host, kind of similar to what you guys are doing. But then opportunities presented themselves. And once I got a taste of sideline reporting, being live, the challenge of building relationships with teams so that you can get the stories that people don't know, I was addicted. From there, as I started to grow and had the opportunity in Mobile in 2014 with my partner, Justin Baker, and he said, do you want to go on air? Do you want to give a shot at calling play-by-play and analyzing games? Okay, why not? So as far as where I want to go from here, I'm a pretty open book in that area. Just the day in and day out of being with these guys, and it's a privilege, and that's something that I would love to continue to pursue. I actually have involvement in several other sports as well, and those have been great. Baseball is just my one true passion. The fans have even gotten better. I mean, I still remember 10 years ago when I first got into this, Twitter was still a fledgling thing, and there was a lot of negativity, there was feedback, there were trolls kind of, out of nowhere. And now, like, especially after this year and having this announcement that I was going to be named the #1 and the head of broadcasting, the good so far outweighs the bad, that the bad is laughable. I mean, granted, I've gotten a thicker skin in the last decade, but it's almost like 1 in every 100 comments might be mad. And at that point, it's so ignorant that you just can't even pay attention to it. So it's been a really awesome coming of age just for our society as a whole. And I mean, I don't even think that applies to my job or my gender. I think that's across the board. We're realizing a lot more roles in the workplace are less gender specific than we previously thought they were.
For more great videos from the MSG 150, check out right there. And remember, our show is on Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10:30 p.m. on MSG Network and MSG Go.